In a video I made last week, which you may or may not have seen, I did refer to Brandon Tatum, a popular black conservative YouTuber who works for Turning Point USA and is a regular guest on Fox News, as a DEI hire. And I shouldn't have said that. He made this almost 18-minute response video. This is the thumbnail, where almost every single comment from his subscribers were calling me a racist. And he was obviously very hurt by that. And I mean, to be clear, I'm not apologizing. I just wish I wouldn't have said it, because he then used it as a straw man in order to deflect from the issue that was obviously at hand, that he is engaging in cancel culture and undermining Charlie Kirk's wishes for Turning Point USA by trying to get Tucker Carlson banned, canceled from the TPUSA speaking tour, and slandering him as an anti-Semite.
I have never said anything negative about Mark Dice online, ever. And you know why? Because I thought Mark Dice was my friend. And if I had a problem with something he said, which I do have a problem with a few things he said, but if I had a problem with something that Mark Dice said, I would have just texted him. I have his number. He actually texted me before he made this video.
Yeah, I did, about something totally unrelated, and before I saw that you joined the neocons and the kosher right, now calling for Tucker Carlson to literally be canceled and smearing him as an anti-Semite. Joining the likes of Mark Levin, who says that Tucker Carlson is a bigoted poison, and demanding that TPUSA back away from him and his ilk, and lunatic Laura Loomer, who's been calling him an anti-Semite for I forget how long, probably years now, and hallucinating that Tucker's gonna take over TPUSA and buy it out, and then turn it into a, quote, anti-Jewish organization. And notice in my previous video about him, I didn't mention that I texted him at all, because not only was it about an unrelated matter before I knew that he sold out to the kosher right and was trying to get Tucker Carlson canceled, but because I texted him a question that I said was off the record. I asked him a question about something that he would have known about that only required a 3-word answer at most. I don't know, yes, or no. But in his response video to me, he not only let the cat out of the bag, which is just a minor issue, I just didn't want to involve him in it in any way whatsoever, but he violated basic journalistic ethics, because I just didn't text him a question. I prefaced it with, hey bro, off the record, do you know about such and such, which I knew that he would, and I just needed some kind of a confirmation before I would go and report on it.
And yeah, I didn't get a chance to get around to texting him back because I'm busy. I'm working. I'm a businessman. I got 20 plus employees here.
I don't got 5 seconds to respond yes, no, or I don't know, but I got 18 minutes to make a video whining about you calling me a DEI hire. Occasionally I do talk to a handful of well-connected and well-known people about a variety of issues, and while most of the time those conversations aren't off the record, I still don't talk about them because I don't violate people's trust.
I got multiple companies I'm running. I don't have time to text people back all the time.
Well, you did say that you were my friend, and I text my friends back, but I'm not friends with people who smear Tucker Carlson as an anti-Semite and are engaging in cancel culture trying to get him banned from the Turning Point USA tour as soon as Charlie Kirk got killed. But let's listen to some more of Brandon Turncoat Tatum, shall we? I gave a shout out to back in 2016 when he was just getting started, because I thought it would be good to have more black Trump supporters visible on social media. But as we all know, if you back a DEI hire, it never turns out well. And now Turncoat Tatum is trying to undermine Charlie Kirk's last wishes for Turning Point USA by trying to sever ties.
Hold on. Charlie Kirk's last wishes. Where is it documented that what he's about to say is Turning Point's Charlie Kirk's last wishes?
Well, since you asked, these group text messages involving Charlie Kirk, which were leaked and confirmed 100% authentic by Turning Point USA, reveal that 2 days before he was killed, Charlie was upset that he lost another $2 million a year in donations from a Jewish donor because Turning Point USA wouldn't cancel Tucker Carlson. And he still wouldn't cancel Tucker Carlson and was continuing to stand by Tucker Carlson and keep him on the tour, and saying some not so nice things about Jews that they play into all of the stereotypes. I don't need to mention what kind of stereotypes. And he's not going to be bullied like this, and it left him no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. That's why we call you Turncoat Tatum, because you think that you know what's best for Turning Point USA better than Charlie did. As soon as he gets killed, you start telling people what Turning Point does and doesn't stand for and who they should and shouldn't have on stage. Posting on Twitter, I will always support TPUSA, but Tucker Carlson is antithetical to what TPUSA stands for. I do not support him at any TPUSA event because Brandon Tatum knows it's best. He should be the president of TPUSA, not Charlie. Calling Tucker Carlson a fraud and saying that the anti-Semite bug got to him because he just is upset about how Israel has been conducting the war and doesn't think that Jews are God's chosen people and has basic, mild criticism or really just a common sense view of what most Americans see of certain issues, but have been, up until recently, afraid to say them because especially those in conservative media will start calling you an anti-Semite like Brandon is to Tucker Carlson.
I'm going to say this. Turning Point, if they don't get it together, will cease to exist. I'm telling you right now, and I am ticked that the stuff that's going out about Turning Point USA is not combated in a more aggressive way. I know so many people that is questioning whether they should support Turning Point USA because of what's going on in the ethers.
So let me get this straight. Turning Point USA will cease to exist if Tucker Carlson continues to be a speaker? Or like half the speakers at one of the recent events talked about how Jeffrey Epstein worked for Mossad, Israel's version of the CIA, upsetting more of the Jewish donors. Something that even Charlie Kirk himself has been talking about. So I guess to Brandon Tatum, he must think that Charlie himself was being anti-Semitic. And if Charlie Kirk was still around, I guess the organization would still be destroyed.
In the ethosphere. Many people are questioning. All had to be done is that, Tucker, you can't do the major events because the people who support this organization don't want you here.
Oh, the people who support the organization don't want him there. But again, Charlie Kirk did up until the day that he was killed. And notice, all of the fans want Tucker there, but Brandon doesn't care about what America wants, what the majority wants. He cares about what the donors want. He cares about what those who write the checks want. I got so many other clips lined up, but I don't know if I want this video to go on and on and on. We've all seen the clips of Ted Cruz saying that his number one purpose for being a U.S. Senator was to support Israel, right? Glenn Beck's number one purpose for being born, he said, was to support Israel. Charlie Kirk sitting with Megyn Kelly at a Turning Point USA event talking about how they both believe that it was most likely the case that Jeffrey Epstein worked for Mossad, making them anti-Semites, I guess, in the mind of Brandon Tatum. Oh, this is a clip that I haven't shown. Here is Joe Rogan talking about the mass awakening now that the Overton window has moved so much regarding people expressing their actual opinions about Israel, despite people like Brandon Tatum smearing them as anti-Semites.
Are you worried about Israel's influence on American politics? Because that's one of the things that's coming to light over the last couple of years since the invasion, where people are paying more and more attention to Israel. And then also seeing what happens when you criticize Israel.
I've never understood why AIPAC doesn't have to register as a foreign agent with the Justice Department when everybody else does. Why is AIPAC special that it doesn't have to register? If you're doing something, anything, on behalf of a foreign government, you have to register. Except if you're AIPAC. And I just don't understand that.
Well, just noticing these things will get you called an anti-Semite, sir, so pipe down! And despite Brandon Tatum and others siding with those who write the checks to Turning Point USA instead of what the actual Turning Point USA fans want, things like this are going to continue to happen. Here is Glenn Beck, who is one of the speakers on the Turning Point Tour, filling in at some of the spots that Charlie was scheduled to go to, getting asked questions that the kosher right doesn't want people to hear and certainly don't want to answer.
My name is Jeb Baugh. I'm an aviation student here at the University of North Dakota. And I really liked your point, question everything. And one question I have for you, Glenn, is a lot of young American and conservatives are starting to notice that Israel has an overwhelming lobby over the United States government, and we have unconditionally supported them. We have fought their wars in the Middle East. Bibi Netanyahu came to our Congress in the 90s.
See how uncomfortable Glenn is getting?
Told us a list of countries that we need to take out. Some were Syria, Iraq, Iran, Libya, etc.
Like Benjamin Netanyahu laid out in the Clean Break memo, which was published many years before we invaded Iraq for Israel.
Through those wars, we have lost trillions of dollars. We have lost American servicemen. And the worst part I think about it is the fact that millions of refugees are coming to the Western world through America and Europe, are degrading our cities, destroying our Western values.
This is a smart kid. Joel Pollack, by the way, the editor of Breitbart, who is Jewish, said that he's okay with the Palestinian refugees coming to America. So he doesn't want them living next to Israel, but he's okay with them coming here.
The U.S.
If you have more, let me just, because that's a long list and I have a very short attention span. So let me just answer some of those here and then you can continue your encyclopedia of questions, and I appreciate it. Let's see. Israel has a lobby. Yes. And you know who has a bigger lobby all around the world? The United States of America. It is in each country's best interest to lobby. Don't blame Israel. Blame our own politicians if they act upon it outside of the United States' interest. Because I can tell you, we're lobbying everybody else. And
we're invading them and bombing them, too.
They will.
No one's clapping. No one's clapping for your point.
Now, people are in the audience shouting, are you America first or Israel first? And just so you know, many Jews in Israel and around the world don't like the way that Benjamin Netanyahu has responded to the Hamas terrorist attack a couple years ago by ethnically cleansing virtually all of Palestine, destroying almost every single building in the entire country. So here is Jared Kushner, Donald Trump's son-in-law, and Ivanka over there in Tel Aviv when they're making the announcement about the new peace deal that President Trump helped to get put in place. And just listen to the crowd of Israelis respond when he mentions Benjamin Netanyahu's name.
To Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Okay. To Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
And here's a new poll revealing just how much Israel fatigue the American people have.
Yeah, this war caused a historic shift in public opinion on how Americans view the Middle East conflict. What are we talking about here? Who voters sympathize more with, the Israelis or the Palestinians? Back in October of 2023, it was the Israelis by 48 points. Look at this shift. Now we're talking about the Palestinians by a point. I looked back at every single poll that I could possibly find since this question was first asked in the 1980s. This is the first time ever in which the Palestinians had any sort of lead on this particular question. It is very clear that this war caused a historic shift away from the Israeli position in the Middle East conflict and towards the Palestinians when it comes to who Americans and voters sympathize with.
Which is why we all know the Zionists wrestled TikTok away from the Chinese, not because it was a Chinese spy app, but because, as the Jewish ADL president Jonathan Greenblatt revealed on a private call here.
I also want to point out that we have a major generational problem. All the polling I've seen, ADL's polling, ICC's polling, independent polling, suggests this is not a left-right gap, folks. The issue in the United States in support for Israel is not left and right. It is young and old. And so we really have a TikTok problem, a Gen Z problem, that our community needs to put the same brains that gave us Taglit, the same brains that gave us all these other amazing innovations, need to put our energy toward this.
And this is why Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, who has been indicted by the International Criminal Court on war crimes, which is why he can't go to various countries in Europe, said that the number one priority now was to take over control of TikTok.
But we have to fight with the weapons that apply to the battlefields in which we're engaged. And the most important ones are the social media. And the most important purchase that is going on right now is class. TikTok. TikTok. Number one. And I hope it goes through because it can be consequential. And the other one, what's the other one that's most important? X. Exactly. Very good.
So top of his mind is taking control of TikTok, which they did, and also censoring Twitter, censoring X. So it looks like Elon Musk is going to have to make another trip to Auschwitz again. After Elon agreed that Ginos, Jews in name only, the liberal, secular, atheist Jewish groups were largely involved in promoting anti-whiteism and open borders for the United States and Europe, he then had to go and do a tour of the infamous concentration camp with his handler, Ben Shapiro, of all people. I know this looks like a photoshopped, like a meme, like Ben making him go there and, bend the knee to the Jewish lobby, but he really did. And here's Benjamin Netanyahu complaining that we just don't give Israel enough money, even though we've been giving them billions of dollars a year for decades and decades and decades. They are the #1 recipient in total of U.S. aid, but it's never enough.
When Secretary Blinken was recently here in Israel, we had a candid conversation. I said I deeply appreciated the support the U.S. has given Israel from the beginning of the war.
You mean since the beginning of your country, back in 1948 for 75 years.
But I also said something else. I said it's inconceivable that in the past few months, the administration has been withholding weapons and ammunition to Israel.
We haven't been giving them enough for the last few months because, they need to destroy the remaining several buildings in Gaza. But according to Brandon Tatum, us giving Israel billions of dollars a year only helps America's economy, with him posting, "Did you know the U.S. provides Israel with approximately $3.8 billion a year in military aid?" Oh, my audience knows most of the American people are starting to become aware of this, which is one of the reasons why they're souring on Israel. 74%, approximately $2.8 billion spent on U.S. equipment, services, and training at home. Since October of 2023, the U.S. has sent almost $18 billion in aid in American tax dollars, meaning nearly $13 billion went back into the U.S. economy. Oh, see, he's trying to claim, like Dan Crenshaw and all the other neocons, that it's actually helping America by giving our tax dollars to a foreign country because they use some of those tax dollars to then purchase weapons from the military-industrial complex. But if you enjoy watching my videos and want to support my work, you can buy me a coffee for just $5 by clicking the link in the description below. BuyMeACoffee.com is a great service for you to tip your favorite content creator because YouTube takes 30 or 40% of the super thanks and super chats before taxes. So you can buy me a coffee or buy me however many coffees you want, however valuable you think my work has been to you or is to you. So just click the link in the description below, head on over there and check it out.